Hey, this is Jason with Banna Properties, and I've bought and sold hundreds of pieces of property in 11 different states in the US, but many of them have been in the state of Texas. So many times people that are looking to buy land ask me, what are the things I need to know about buying land in Texas? Texas is a popular US state to buy land because there's a lot of land there. It's a very large state, it has a lot of wide open spaces. There are a couple other great reasons. It has a warm climate, generally speaking, and it has a thriving economy. There's a huge amount of people migrating to the state. There's a big tech boom in the state. And of course, all of us know that Elon Musk and SpaceX are all in Texas now. So buying land in Texas could be a very good investment in your future. However, buying land anywhere can be a complex process. So it's important that you do your research before you make any decisions. I've decided to create a definitive guide to buying land in Texas, and I want to go through the next few points, some of the key things that you need to consider before buying a piece of land. So the first thing is to determine your budget. Obviously, you need to know the price range of what type of property you can afford. We all have dreams of a huge Texas ranch, but what can I actually afford? Another thing that goes along with determining your budget is going to help you focus on the right deals is looking into financing options. So cash is king, and you will most likely be able to access better deals if you have cash. Often you can have a little more negotiation power with cash, and you can close quicker. It's an easier closing process. So land sellers will often prefer cash. However, there are financing options available if you don't have the cash when buying land. There are credit unions and some banks that will make loans on certain properties in Texas. Even the Veterans Land Board, if you are a vet and you qualify, offers financing options. Now, they do have some requirements. So certain requirements for you personally and your credit situation, your employment situation, but also many of the places that loan on land will have requirements on the land, the size of the land. If it's, is there a survey available or a plat? Is there access to the land? Different things that will happen. So you need to talk to your local financing board. But if you are looking for financing, I recommend you try to get a pre-approval before you go on the hunt for land. This will help the process. Another thing is to consider the location. So the location of the land is very important, but not just for the value of the land, but also its proximity to cities and amenities. So where do you plan to live? Texas has a lot of very rural places. Maybe you want to homestead or have a ranch. That's great. But how far a drive and how close to local amenities like gas stations, supermarkets, etc. So other things that are access factors would be like access to roads. What type of road? Is it dirt, gravel? Is it paved? Is it city maintained, state maintained? Water is an important one. Is there city water? Can I drill a well on the property? But the location is going to vary and be very important in this. Conduct your research. So as you look at the location, look at the research of the areas and the things that happen with that type of land. One thing to keep in mind, in many places in the western half of the state, you buy the surface rights to the land, but you don't necessarily own the mineral rights. This is very common in Texas in the oil and gas industry. So when you do your research, how would that affect what you build? Look at things also like the local economy, population growth, land use patterns. Is it an area of growth? Maybe you want to be out and away from people, but you're in a growth zone where things are going to develop. Or maybe you prefer to be closer to a city where there's more opportunities for your children or for your family or for your work. You could speak with local agents. You could speak with local business owners that could provide you with more information about how the local economies are in each district in the state. Checking the zoning is another important factor. So make sure that the land you're interested in buying is zoned for the use that you have in mind. Some counties have very little zoning restrictions in Texas or no restrictions at all. But if you plan to build a home, make sure that the property is zoned at the very least residential. Residential 1, R1 is a very common zoning designation, which means you can build a single family residence. Some agriculturally zoned land will also allow you to build a residence and barns or outbuildings. But check with the local municipality or county board to see what the zoning restrictions are and what's allowed within their county zoning requirements. Look into utilities. Now, I mentioned water before, but depending on the the use that you have planned for your land, you might need water, power, sewage. Maybe you're just looking for a piece of land to go off-grid hunting on. Well, you wouldn't need that if you just plan to camp on it occasionally or pull a camper in. And there are plenty of options for off-grid things like building a cabin that uses a solar panel, composting toilets, putting in a septic tank or an outhouse. There are options to bring in water tanks. And this is very common in some regions of the state. But it's important that you have a clear idea on what your particular plans are and define what the costs for traditional utilities. Are they available? What would they cost to bring in and install? Are they already on the site? Or if you want to do an off-grid style, then what would need to be the cost and the work to set that system up? Another thing is to understand how to work with an agent. So most agents, when we think of real estate, we think we have to work with a land agent. Now, contrary to popular belief, you do not have to work with an agent to buy land in Texas. However, if you choose to use an agent, understand how the agents work. So most agents in Texas get paid by the seller of the property. So if I am selling a 50-acre property, I put it on the market with an agent. I am paying the agent's commissions to sell that. Now, this means that the agents are motivated to sell you the property. And actually, they even often, if they try to sell it to you directly, will have you sign a dual representation contract. It's not necessarily in your best interest to sign a dual representation contract. I think many of these agents are very honest and do a good job, even in dual representation. But it would be better to have a buyer's agent, someone that's only representing you. Now, there are options where with a buyer's agent, you can actually pay them a little more out of your pocket in commission for representing you. But also remember that agents only make money in commissions. So they only make money on the sale of the property via a commission. Now, the problem with land is that many times pieces of property are not as valuable as houses. So there are less agents that are willing to show you and do the work to drive you around or take you out and tromps around on some farm or ranch property that's maybe only worth $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, because their commissions are going to be a lot smaller than if they sell a $300,000 or $400,000 or $5,000, $100,000 house. So keep that in mind when you're working with an agent. And although there are good agents, make sure that you understand the process and that you understand how the commissions work. Now, the other thing connected with agents is, well, can I just buy the land directly myself? You absolutely can. You can actually buy land directly yourself. Anything that's on the market and anything that's off the market, anything that's for sale, you can approach them yourself without having an agent represent you. You can even buy it directly from a seller. We sell land on our website directly to end buyers ourselves. It saves on agent commissions and all the middleman costs. But how do you do that? You need to understand how that process is, as this is very important. So some simple steps to keep in mind when buying land directly yourself are things like verifying ownership. You want to make sure that the person that's selling it to you does actually own the property. You are working with the right person and not being deceived somehow. So how you do that is you can ask to see the deed. You can actually call the county clerk's office, use the legal description of the property, and you can see whose name is on title. Now, some people use the county assessor's office, which shows the tax rolls. Many rural counties will sell the property and it'll take them a year or two to update the tax rolls, so the property might have changed hands. But if you call the county clerk's office, also known as the recorder's office, they have up-to-date title information and are the ultimate source. So that's the first step. Another step is obviously to talk with the seller, the owner, and negotiate a sale price of the property. Now, how you negotiate the sale price, it can be verbally, but you need to create a purchase and sale agreement document. This is a simple document that has the details of how much you would pay, the legal description of the property, a time and date by when you will close on the property, and any terms of the sale, whether it's cash or financing, how that will close. Now, you take that purchase agreement to a title company that's licensed in the state and that does business in the county where the property is located. Very important, a very important step for your safety. It's a third party that legally represents both of you and will complete the transaction. So this provides an extra layer of security. You're not going to get scammed in any way. You're working through a local title company. Now, the local title company will do a title search at the minimum, and they'll go back 30 to 40 years and make sure that there's clear ownership and no liens on the property, and it's ready to sell. You can also choose to buy title insurance on that sale through the title company, and then they will escrow the close. They will actually mitigate the close, and they'll have you as the buyer send the funds, and they'll have the deed executed by the seller, and they'll complete all that at the county recorder's office for you. Final question often asked is, what type of deed should I get? When I buy land, what type of deed do I want? Now, I do have another blog post and video where I describe the different type of deeds in Texas and the pros and cons of each. So I won't go into too much detail here, but a quick summary is look for a warranty deed at the best, or at least a special warranty deed. Avoid buying property with a quitclaim in Texas at all costs. In conclusion, buying land in Texas can be a great investment. It's important that you do your research and that you're prepared. So make sure you understand the local economy, consider the location, have a clear understanding of your budget and the land buying process, and you'll have a smooth transaction. So for great land deals, look at our website, banaproperties.com. Thank you for watching. God bless.